Welcome to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and creator of the Build Your Reiki Business program, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Greetings, welcome, and thanks so much for tuning in. It's Christian of Standing Stones Healing with this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Thank you for being here. In this week's episode, we're talking about goal setting for your Reiki business. Goal setting for your Reiki business. Now, last week we talked about strategic planning for your Reiki business, and this week's episode is really a complement to last week's episode on strategic planning, because this is the time of year when many of us are doing some reflection, some looking forward to the new year, and thinking about what we want to bring into the new year for our Reiki business, setting our visions and our goals. So this week's episode is going to talk a little bit about goal setting and offer some suggestions for your goal setting experience. You know, as far as goal setting goes in our Reiki business, of course, there are certainly some mixed feelings about it. Some say and believe, and for their own Reiki business, they think that goal setting is maybe a little too business-like, maybe not intuitive enough, maybe just quite frankly not enough woo-woo. But, you know, I think that we can find a balance between that very concrete business-like experience and the intuitive, more, for lack of a better word, woo-woo kind of business experience. Because I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive. You know, for me and my Reiki business, of course, my Reiki business is very grounded. I'm just very grounded, not only as a business owner and a Reiki practitioner, but also just simply as a human being. I'm just very grounded, and so I do bring a grounded approach to my Reiki business. At the same time, you know, I am also highly intuitive. Well, of course, I'm sure, as you probably know if you've seen any of my other videos or had a session with me or anything like that, that yes, indeed, I am intuitive and spiritual as well. And so I don't think that those things are mutually exclusive. At least I know in my Reiki business, I bring them all to my Reiki business, all of the above. And so I don't think that goal setting goes against the idea of a spiritual business. And I don't think that goal setting inhibits our intuition. Indeed, we can bring our intuition into all aspects, all facets of our Reiki business, including goal setting. So in this episode, I'm going to give you some concrete and grounded ways to approach goal setting. As with anything, take what resonates with you, leave the rest, and thank you for joining me. So I will say that in my own goal setting, in my Reiki business, I will completely openly admit that sometimes I'm better at this than others. Now, when it comes to yearly goal setting, yes, some years I'm better at this than others. And what I mean by that is that every year I will set goals in my Reiki business. And some years, honestly, I'm better at revisiting those goals and keeping them in mind throughout the year than I am in other years. And so while I always strive to practice what I preach, I'll be the first one to admit that sometimes I don't always do the best practicing. But indeed, what I share with you in this episode are all things that I have done or that I do, and that I do incorporate into my Reiki business in some way, shape, or form. Now, in last week's strategic planning episode, I did mention the tactic. There is a technique of doing 12-week planning rather than 12-month planning. And so rather than planning out the full year all at once or setting goals for the year, to set them in shorter increments, like for instance, 12 weeks. Now, the 12-week method is just an actual method, but you could scale that down in whatever way works for you, where if you want to plan your Reiki business month by month, 3 months at a time, whatever works. Like I mentioned in the strategic planning episode, I typically will plan the first half of my year in my Reiki business. And then as that time approaches, the halfway mark of the year approaches, I will then look at the remaining half of the year and adjust and plug in dates, make some changes if necessary, and just use that as an opportunity to reflect yet again, and almost in a sense to kind of do a smaller version of my yearly visioning at the middle of the year. But again, please do whatever resonates with you in your Reiki business, and keep in mind that the journey is ever unfolding and it always changes. And how it looks for me in my Reiki business now in terms of the planning and the visioning is different from what it looked like a few years ago, and is going to be different in a few years as well. So it's always an ever-changing and evolving kind of experience. I think that's important for us to always keep in mind, especially when we are talking about strategic planning or goal setting for our Reiki business. One of the benefits to setting goals on a shorter timeline than a full year is that, I don't know about you, but oftentimes when I'm looking at the year ahead, at the end of one year, the beginning of the next, and I'm looking at that year, December seems kind of far off. And so I might set some goals and say, oh, I've got plenty of time to achieve these goals. And then I don't know about you, but sometimes the year just gets away from me. And I'm looking back and saying, wait, where did the year go? And wait a minute. Oh, I was going to accomplish these goals and I didn't get around to it because, I don't know about you, but when you're looking at the year ahead, you think, oh, I have so much time. I have so much time to get this done. And then before you know it, the time is gone. So setting goals on a shorter time frame, for the first few months, and then setting new goals for the next 3 months, 12 weeks, or any other interval that might resonate with you, can be helpful, because then it really forces us to keep those goals a little more at the top of our mind, a little more at the forefront, and really allows us to focus in on those goals. And when there's less time to work with, then there's less of a chance that time is going to get away from us. You have something that you need or want to accomplish, and you only have a short amount of time to do it, let's say a month versus a year, then you're going to move a little bit more quickly to get that done. And so shorter term goal setting can be really helpful and beneficial. Now, what's also really helpful and beneficial in goal setting is having your vision and knowing what it is that you want to see in your Reiki business, your vision, and of course, importantly, how that aligns with your values. So I talked about that in the strategic planning episode, but it really is key, because anytime we set goals, we want to make sure that we are setting goals that align with our values. If our goals are not aligned with our values, then we're going to have a really hard time achieving those goals. And so it's important for us in our strategic planning, in our visioning, that we make sure first and foremost that our Reiki business is aligning with our values and that we are aligning the goals with the vision for the business and where we would like our business to be going. So when it comes to goal setting, I really encourage asking yourself, where do you see your Reiki business in the future? So where do you see your Reiki business in the next 10 years or 5 years? 3 years, or if you're thinking, oh, that's so far, I'm just getting started in my Reiki business, buddy. I can't think 10 years ahead. I'm just trying to figure out today. Yes, well, just for today, right? Take a deep breath. It's absolutely okay. You can start small. You don't have to have a grand vision for your business. And remember, that changes and evolves anyway. So give yourself some breathing room. And it's okay to say, where do I see my Reiki business in the next year? And set that vision, have a vision. Now, if the vision is not solidified, it's okay to not have an ultra clear vision, but you want to have some kind of idea. Because when you set your goals, you want them to be aligning with that vision. Because setting our goals in alignment with the vision helps us to then align our time and our actions with our vision. So when we set goals, ultimately what we're doing with goal setting is that we are telling ourselves how we want to be spending our time in our Reiki business. Goal setting at its core is really just a time management practice where you're saying, this is what I want to accomplish. Therefore, this is what I'm going to spend my time working towards. And if you spend your time working towards something that doesn't ultimately align with the vision that you have for your Reiki business, then there's going to be a greater challenge for you in accomplishing those goals. It's like there's an inherent challenge in setting goals that go against what we want at our core. So always make sure that you are starting with a vision when you are setting goals, the greater reasons behind your goals, rather than just setting arbitrary goals because, well, aren't you supposed to just set goals? Christian said, do goal setting. Goal setting with intention and with purpose for sure, because this is how you will be aligning your time and your actions. So you'll want them to be aligned with your greater Reiki business visions. Because when we set goals that are aligned with our vision, we can then walk back from that vision. So let's say that you're envisioning, okay, 1 year out in my Reiki business, I want to have served X number of clients. I want to have purchased this, this, and this for my office. I want to have created this number of reels on Instagram or whatever it might be. You want to make sure that those goals themselves align with the greater vision. And so asking yourself, why do you want to serve that many clients? Why do you want to purchase those items for your office space? Why do you want to create Instagram Reels in the first place? And so those goals will need and want to be aligned with a greater reason, a greater why behind it all. And then once those goals are set, and so you're saying, okay, at the end of 1 year, I want to have purchased this, this, and this, a table, a Himalayan salt lamp, and a big piece of selenite. Hey, listen, every Reiki room needs a big piece of selenite, right? And so if those are some of your goals for the year, you really want to ask yourself why. Why are those important? So that you are aligned with the values behind those goals, and they're not just arbitrary goals because, oh, well, I mean, I should have a salt lamp in my Reiki room, right? Not necessarily. It's up to you for your Reiki room. But then what you are able to do, and this is where a lot of good goal setting goes awry, in that the goals are set, you've got your list of goals for the year, you're ready to go, but then that's it. The next step, and the next powerful step, is to align your actions with those goals. And so to be asking yourself, what do I need to be doing on a monthly basis in order to get those goals done? What do I need to be doing on a weekly basis? Even what do I need to be doing on a daily basis to achieve those goals? And so let's say that by the end of December of next year, you want to have those 3 things purchased. Okay, then the question is, walk yourself back from the date when you want to have that done and say, okay, if I want to have the big piece of selenite in my Reiki room by December 31st, what do I need to have done before then to have that big honking piece of selenite? And so before then, what you need to do is you need to have purchased the selenite. And so asking yourself, where are some places that I might purchase selenite? Before then, you will have needed to have maybe checked out some of those places and seen what is being offered, what kind of selenite what size of selenite do I want, what properties of the selenite do I want, where might the selenite go in my Reiki room. So having all of those things laid out with dates. So for instance, by June 30th, I'm going to have figured out where in my Reiki room I want to place the selenite. I'm going to have figured out how big I want the selenite to be. I'm going to have figured out my price range for my selenite. And so then maybe by September 1st, you will know where you are going to purchase your selenite from, and you will be actively talking with the shop owner if you're purchasing from a shop, or actively searching online if you're purchasing online, or wherever, going to the shows, all the crystal shows, if you're going to purchase from a crystal show, wherever you might be looking to make the purchase from, you're actively determining where you're sourcing that big honkin' piece of selenite. We can take this down also to an even smaller level and ask ourselves, okay, what do I need to be doing each month to move myself closer to my goal of having selenite, a big piece of selenite, in my Reiki room by the end of the year? And okay, what do I need to be doing on a weekly basis to ensure that I've got my big piece of selenite? Now, of course, this is going to look different for different kinds of goals. And so a big piece of selenite, that maybe doesn't have quite as many pieces to it. It might just be, just go out and buy the damn thing. But if you're looking at a different kind of goal, like let's say, for instance, you want to create that certain number of Instagram reels by the end of the year, and that's one of your goals. Remember, first you want to know the why behind it and how that aligns with your ultimate vision, and does it align with your ultimate vision? Because if your ultimate vision in your Reiki business is to get yourself off of social media, then that doesn't align, and you're going to have a very hard time completing that goal because it goes against your greater desires. And so asking yourself then with that Instagram goal, okay, if I want to have this certain number of reels created by the end of the year, I'm going to have how many reels do I need to have created each month in order to hit that goal? And then what do I need to be doing each month to ensure that I hit that goal of the number of reels for each month? And what do I need to be doing on a weekly basis in order to make sure that I hit those goals for the monthly so that I ultimately hit my yearly goal for the reels? And what do I need to be doing on even a daily basis to make sure that I am staying on track? And so when we really break down our goals in this smaller kind of way, we can see how they very much are a time management tool. Because we're saying, this is what is important for me for this year. This is what I want to be accomplishing in my Reiki business for the year. And so this then is therefore how I want to be spending my time in order to achieve those ultimate yearly goals in my Reiki business. And so this is where a lot of goal setting doesn't go to the next level and doesn't go to the next step, where it's just saying, these are my yearly goals, and hang them up and I'll consider them throughout the year. And then in September, I'll say, oh crap, I need to get moving on these goals. But if we really break it down into our actions on an action level, daily, weekly, monthly, then we're allowing our goals, our values, our vision to determine how we spend our time. Now, one of the things that I really like to talk about when it comes to this idea of using goal setting as time management and breaking it down into smaller increments is Kaizen. Kaizen. I am a big fan of Kaizen. And Kaizen is a Japanese technique of continuous improvement. And Kaizen really started to take hold in business back in, post-World War II, where Japan really took off as an automaker. And one of their reasons for their great success as an automaker was Kaizen and this idea of continuous improvement. And so what Kaizen is all about is it's all about taking small, incremental actions to get better and better and better. And so Kaizen doesn't look at, oh, we need to make these big sweeping changes to see big gains and improvements. Rather, Kaizen is about the small things that added up over time make a huge impact. And so that means making small little changes here and there and allowing the culmination of those changes to really make big impacts. Kaizen, by the way, is spelled Kaizen, and I highly, highly recommend a beautiful little book called The Spirit of Kaizen by Robert Maurer, Maurer. And he has written a couple of books on Kaizen. He also wrote One Small Step at a Time, I believe it's called. Both of them are good books. However, out of the two of them, I really recommend The Spirit of Kaizen. So if you're only going to read one book on Kaizen, I recommend his The Spirit of Kaizen. But both are good books. And so it talks all about Kaizen, what this is, and how even it's something you can implement in your own personal life as well as your Reiki business. So I think that when it comes to goal setting and breaking it down into smaller and smaller actions, Kaizen is so helpful for us, for really helping us to understand the impact of small changes over time. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. Now, of course, we can't talk about goal setting without talking about SMART goals, right? SMART goals. Of course, you've heard this. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound goals. And yes, we absolutely can use SMART goals. I think that the acronym is very helpful for goal setting, but I think that sometimes when we set SMART goals, we might forget that there are other components to a successful goal and achieving the goal. And one thing that I think is really important for us to remember is this idea of support in our goals and in achieving our goals. I think it's important for us to ask in our goal setting who can support us in achieving our goals. I think so often we think of goal setting, at least for our Reiki business, as a solitary kind of experience. At least I know in my Reiki business, I frequently view it in this way because I'm the business in my Reiki business. But even when we are solopreneurs, even when we are a Reiki business of one, there are still ways that we can get support for the accomplishing of our goals. And there are still people out there who can support us in the achieving of our goals in our Reiki business. And so when it comes to our goal setting, I think it's also helpful for us to ask ourselves who can support us in achieving those goals? Whose help can we enlist in the accomplishing of the goals? Who can we reach out to for support in achieving the goals? And this support can be in the form of just an accountability partner. It can be in the form of a, hey, you got this, rah, rah, kind of a person to cheer us on. But it can also look like people who are actually doing things to help us achieve our goals. So let's say that one of your goals is to serve a certain number of clients in the year. Then the question is, who can help you achieve that goal? Who can help you get those clients? Who can help you get the word out about your services? Who can refer clients to you? Who can you ask for help in getting clients? And this might even look it might be a creative kind of thing. So this might look like a creative kind of endeavor in which you're getting creative about who can help you and how they can help you, how you can enlist their assistance in achieving your goals. By the way, helping the people you enlist to see how achieving your goal can help them is also helpful. And then, of course, I believe it's important to properly thank the people who support you in achieving your goals as well. But it's the kind of thing where you do not have to work towards your goals all by yourself. Indeed, help is all around you. Another question that you can even ask is, what resources are available to me to achieve this goal? So what are some of the resources that I have? Not just in terms of people and connections and relationships, but also even just in terms of our own knowledge, our own skill set, things that we have at our disposal. What are the resources that can help us? This can help us to really see a goal from multiple facets rather than just as something smart, SMART. Now, of course, there is so much more to say about goal setting, but what really matters is how it resonates with you. And so, do you do goal setting in your Reiki business? Please feel free to tell us about it. Stop into the Reiki Business Collective at facebook.com/groups/Reiki Biz. Tell us all about your goal setting process. Do you set goals? Do you not set goals? Why or why not? How do you do it? We would love to hear all about it in the Reiki Business Collective. And yes, I talk about these tactics and techniques in the Build Your Reiki Business program, along with so much more. You can learn more at standingstoneshealing.com/build. Thank you so very much. I'm sending so many blessings and best wishes to your goals for the new year, and of course, always to your Reiki business. Thanks for tuning in to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend. Learn more about the Build Your Reiki Business program at standingstoneshealing.com/build. Sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.